Hello, my name is Erica. I'm with Bright Minds Academy. That is the homeschool name that I've given for me and my kids. And we've been homeschooling for about since the year of 2021, I believe. And I just wanted to get on here and just discuss about just homeschooling. Like, I was recently on a podcast and it prompted me to we were talking about like the budget, you know, different budgets for homeschooling. And I had on the podcast I had discussed that, this year I had spent about roughly $2,000, which was $500 more than what I had initially wanted to spend. But when I was talking about that on the podcast, it made me want to make a video, which I'm making right now, about, um, I guess, startup costs for homeschooling. And so, although I was able to, I was blessed to be able to spend like I said, about roughly $2,000 this year. I wanted to talk about the first years of when I began homeschooling and what that was like because we didn't have the budget to homeschool, like we did this year. We budgeted for it. So me and my fiance, we budgeted for it for this year. So I'm going to be talking about how when we first began. So in 2021, my kids, during 2020, they were virtual learners in Texas, and they were in Texas school systems, and they were learning from home on the tablets. And then I pulled my children out at the end of that school year and decided to do full-on homeschool. And so when I pulled my kids out, they were in Texas school system, but we ended up moving back to Oklahoma. And Texas and Oklahoma, they kind of have the same homeschool laws as it pertains to homeschooling, which can also be found at the hslda.org for anything homeschool related as it pertains to your state. And so I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm not on here to give legal advice or anything like that. But if you are interested in homeschooling, that is the website, again, hslda.org, to find out anything as it pertains to homeschooling for your state in the United States. So with that being said, I pulled my kids out. We moved back to Oklahoma, and I didn't have to register them, anything like that, because again, Oklahoma barely has any homeschool laws, as well as Texas. They just require you that you teach your kids 180 school days. So, jumping in. Oh, another thing, another little reminder, FYI, I did a lot of homework prior, my research prior to pulling my kids out of school. I joined Facebook groups. I really, for Texas and Oklahoma, to really get an understanding, as well as, again, study the legal website, the hslda.org, to really understand, what homeschool was going to look like for me in the state that I was moving to for my children. So this video is basically going to be about what the first 3 to 4 years of homeschool was like for my children. And so, first 3 years, excuse me. So when we decided as a family to homeschool, I kind of looked at the materials that I already had with, at home, like scissors, glue, notebook paper, books, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't take much is what I'm trying to say. Like, I ordered and bought certain workbooks and, things on the subjects that my kids were going to learn. At the time, my oldest, she was going to third grade because I pulled her out in second. So she was going to third grade. And then my son, he was going to first grade. He had just completed kindergarten. So, and then my other children at the time, they were real small. So school wasn't, it just wasn't there for them just yet. They weren't really ready, or at the age of, for that matter. And so I just used what I had. And I want to really stress that I don't want to discourage anybody thinking that, oh, you got to have a $2,000 budget like I did or more. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. Use what you have, okay? Like for counting manipulatives, my daughter was really into those mini brands at the time. And so we had a bunch of mini brands, okay? I kept them in a bag. And I was like, I can use these as counting manipulatives for math. And we did. You know what I'm saying? We literally used what we had and we made it work. I'm real artsy and creative, so I made a lot of learning materials for my kids, like an anteater. I painted an anteater on a cardboard, and for my child, I think my son at the time, it was like numbers 1 through 20, and the amounts, and we use beans, okay, like we use dried up pinto beans, and I just got creative with what we had at home. And so I want to stress that, like, if you want or you're interested in homeschooling and you feel like, oh, I don't have the means to do so, like, it's not about like all the fancy teaching materials and things like that, although those are nice, but it's not about that. It's about how passionate you are about your child's future and meeting them where they're at, what they're learning. Like you do with homeschooling, I discovered how each one of my children learn. I got four of them, and each one of my kids learn a little bit different than the next. And where one might excel in math, one might struggle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like in other subjects as well. So I just wanted to encourage, parents that are wanting or looking into homeschool, but they feel like it's not for their budget or it's not within their budget. And I'm here to tell you that use what you have at home. Okay? Anything can be a learning experience. The library is free. Okay? Nature, the park. Um, here in Tulsa, we have a bunch of discovery labs. We have Tulsa Science Air and Space Museum. We got different things that the kids can do within the community. And that's another thing. Like, if you're not into your community, start joining some of these Facebook groups to get an understanding of what is going on within your community. And then, like, just, branching out, exploring some of these options. And then another thing I want to encourage is like the thrift store. You can find a lot of good books, unused books at the thrift store. There are homeschooling resources here in Tulsa that I was able to get linked up through, word of mouth. People that I know who also homeschool were able to tell me about, different things and places to go to, like homeschool consignment stores and things like that, that sell, and you can sell there your unused and used books. And so, or gently used items. So again, thrift stores, consignment stores, bookstores, even the library sometimes are getting ready, get rid of certain books and things like that. And you can really use that to your advantage. So I just want to encourage the parents, grandparents, whoever is doing the instruction with the homeschooling, that you do not have to have a budget of like all the way up here. You can literally use what you have at home. Your resources, like counting beans like I did, you counting the mini brands, toys like sticks, popsicle sticks. Like, it's literally whatever you can do, use, okay? And I just want to encourage y'all on that. And then if you are able to, like this year, after the first 3.5 years of homeschooling, using what we had and being blessed, in several ways, like there's this app that I use called the Freebie Alerts. And people pretty much give away whatever they want. And if you have the transportation, are able to, you can go pick it up, literally free. And so I use that to my advantage as well. Like, I was able to find a bunch of teacher resources that, they no longer needed. And they were unused, and I was able to, like find a whole bunch of teaching supplies, manipulatives, counting, timesheets, literature books, just different things for different subjects to use throughout all my kids. And so, and I still have them to this day. So, and then what I didn't need, I donated as well. So what I'm saying is just like get in touch with your resources around you, find out, what can benefit you, and get to talking, talk to the people around you. You never know who's in your community that can literally help you with what you need or point you in a direction to. And so this year we were blessed enough to budget for the things that like the newer books, brand new things that I wanted my kids to have. But again, the first 3 years of homeschool, we used what we had. Like, oh, that's another thing. You can start a registry if you are looking for people to help you, like family, friends, or even yourself to save to put towards certain things that you may need for your homeschool, classroom, living room, wherever you teach. Certain things that you may need, like you can go on to Walmart, I believe, and create a classroom registry, and you just literally put everything in there that you need and you share it. And I used it in the past, excuse me, I've used it in the past to help me, you know, get the items that I may have needed, like pencils, glue sticks, notebook paper, spirals, folders, that such. And I've used it as a way to help me get the things, as they came on sale or whatever, or uncle want to come help buy, the kids certain things, whatever. I was able to provide links in grandparents, whatever the case may be. If somebody wants to help you, they're able to, because they know exactly what to get you versus, just handing you the money. Or if they just want to help you in any way, shape, or form, the Walmart classroom registry can do that for you. It's a tool that can help you. Another resource that I use and that I still use to this day is Teachers Pay Teachers. And that is literally a website where teachers create resources and they sell them to other teachers or parents who homeschool and things like that. And you just look on there for whatever you may need. They have a lot of freebies, but they also have low priced items and some higher. And you just type in what you need and you just look it up and you print it out. Or, they have digital versions as well for like Google Docs and things like that. And you're able to use that as a way to help you, for things you may need, learning materials that you might not have, the money to go to a Mardell, a Hobby Lobby, or stores of the likes, okay? And so you can go to Teachers Pay Teachers, and they will literally, it is like so extensive of how many resources on there from many different teachers, different subjects, different, grades, and you just type in what you need and see if you can find it. And then you can also create a wish list on there. So there's different things that you can do in your first years of homeschooling that will not break the budget. You know what I'm saying? So like, as you're building up, and then finding your flow. That's like the most important thing. Finding your style, what works for you. So I do traditional homeschool for my kids, which is like they do workbooks, pencil to workbook. That's what we do, within our homeschool space at home. And they have virtual options, they have charter schools, they have online options. There's so many different ways to homeschool in 2025 and beyond. So you just have to really get out there and again go to the hslda.org and really understand what your state's requirements may be. Okay? But for Oklahoma and Texas, they really don't have many requirements, and the most important requirement is that you would teach for 180 days or 6 months of schooling. So And then they do have suggestions or recommendations of what subjects to teach, like the cores, reading, language arts, science, math, you know, history, things like that. But again, those are suggestions, and you know, just check out the websites. Again, you have the hslda.org, you have Teachers Pay Teachers, the Walmart Registry. Um, Again, join those Facebook groups and get involved with your community. Talk to some people, see what resources you may have out there and what you can benefit from. And I just, if you guys have any questions or anything that I can assist you with, or I can point you in a direction of, feel free to leave a comment, inbox me, DM me, whatever, you know. And I'm here and I'm available to help you in any way that I can. Y'all have a blessed and great day.